What's up guys, I'm Justin Davis. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out the new FrSky X20 radio. It does have dual band 900 megahertz on here and 2.4, which is super cool. It has external spots for antennas and internal antennas as always, and a module bay. But this time we have something different on this. We have a touch screen up top here and a new operating system. It is the ETHOS operating system, available on the FrSky's website for download to your SD card. You will have to put the SD card in this bad boy to get it working and load up the content on the SD card. But it's right on the website. I'll put the link down below. It's pretty simple. You just put the SD card in the very top of the radio and you're good to go. Now this is a prototype. There are new versions coming out as well. The S version and also the HD version coming out. And the HD version is supposed to work with DJI systems. So digital FPV straight to this monitor right here and touchscreen. So that's pretty cool. Without goggles, you'll be able to see your digital FPV feed from your DJI transmitters. That's actually pretty neat. It's one of the first companies that I know of that's working with DJI, and one of the first radios that will display the DJI Digital FPV system. That's pretty cool. So not sure what the price on that radio is going to be yet, but I'm sure it's going to be somewhat pricey. This radio is somewhere in between like our X7 series. It's very similar shape to the X7, but it is probably underneath something like the Horus. My Horus was great, has a full-size module bay. This one has a sort of a micro light style module bay for crossfire and other modules if you want to put on there. But let's go ahead now and let's break down the X20 Tandem dual band radio on the bench. Let's check it out. All right guys, here we go. Let's take a look at the X20, but before we do, I honestly wanted to give some of the new guys to our hobby just kind of a breakdown, or if you're just getting a refresher of what's new out there, what's current, what everybody's using in the FPV community. The TX16S is probably one of the most popular ones out there right now, and this is the blinged out version with all the bells and whistles, the leather trim on the side, 4-in-1 multi-protocol, so it does all kinds of different protocols, including FrSky. So D16, D8, all that hub stand toy drones, all the way down to Spectrum DSM, DSMX, loads and loads of protocols for receivers inside these radios. And this one is around $200. The next one in the lineup is the T-Lite from Jumper, and this is a little 4-in-1 multi-protocol radio as well with a module bay on the back and running 2.4. It is not a dual band like this one, but this one's $65 and it will get you started in the hobby. So this one is a very, very popular radio. Also runs on an 18650 in the back. So very, very nice. Small screen, but also a small price. So there's also my all-time favorite, the Tango 2, and this one is for your crossfire receivers running 900 megahertz. And we also have the DJI radio, which simplifies everything. If you're running a CADX Vista, you can link this up within seconds of turning on the radio, pressing this button, and this button simultaneously will put you into bind mode. It will beep blue here, and you press the button on the Vista receiver and beep, 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 you're done. So then you can go in Betaflight, set it up as S-Bus, and you're ready to go with that radio. Very simple to set up, as long as the Vista is wired up properly to the quad that you're trying to bind to, if it is a bind and fly. So we do a lot of bind and flies on the channel, so that is a really nice addition if you're flying DJI quads. Now this is the case that comes along with it, a very nice full-size case like I have seen before with lots of other FrSky radios, FrSky, however you want to say that. But $400 is going to get you the FrSky Tandem X20 with Hall sensors and the new touchscreen with the ETHOS operating system. Pretty nice. It also comes with a LiPo inside a case in the back that is removable, thank God this time. Unlike my Horus, where I actually had to cut a hole in the back of the Horus, about a $500 radio, so I could get to the internal battery. So that is nice. They did not do that this time with this version. They have a removable battery in the back, and it is a 2S LiPo, and let's see, we're looking at 4,000 milliamp there for that. So that should last quite a long time. Probably give you about a week's worth of flying. And we just put that back on and we're good there. It also comes with these removable protector plates for the outside part of this radio, and these are rubber grips on the side. They're a little more grippy than the protector plates, so that's what I believe these are. They're just a little smooth, which is kind of nice. They slide right on the bottom like this, and it protects those rubber grips and the radio itself. You have 2 feet on the very bottom, no ports on the bottom down here. We do have the option to loosen up these Hall gimbal sticks because they actually do come quite tight, and I'd like to loosen them up a little bit. So to do that, you're going to remove this piece, and you have 2 access ports back here to get to those gimbals with, I believe it's a 2mm driver. So you put your 2mm driver in there and you can adjust sensitivity of those gimbals and get them freed up. Like a lot of freestyle guys and racing guys like to have a little looser sticks. So if you're brand new to FPV, you can leave it just like this and it will be just fine. But on the front of the radio, we have multiple switches here. They are not labeled on this particular transmitter. You can see that they're just kind of hanging out the way they are. It also comes with these tiny little stick protectors, but to put these on, it was a little bit hard. So all I did was just actually take a little bit of like Dawn dish detergent and put it on the very tip of this, and slides right on that way. So easy way to get those on and off. So it'll still feel just a little bit loose, but eventually that stuff will evaporate and we can go ahead and have nice stick protectors there. Just giving us a little more protection. We have 2 adjustable gimbal wheels right here if you're using any type of gimbal. Say maybe you're doing that with iNav, and we have one on the other side back here. We have momentary switches on the very back. You can add these to iNav or Betaflight modes if you want to, just momentary. And we have 6 mode buttons across the bottom this time, which is different than the last radio we've reviewed on the channel. The TX16S series has the mode switches across the very top right here, 1 through 6. They're labeled and they light up when the Radio Master TX16 turns on, which is kind of cool. And then you can tell which one is active. So that first one is active there. I'm just going to turn that off, and that is running OpenTX, which this is not. This new radio is running a different firmware, like we said before. I'll try to put the website link down below for you guys for the ETHOS operating system. Now we also have labeled here, we have potentiometers S1 and S2 here. We have trims in the very center. The power button actually works pretty good. It works a little bit better than the old school X7. Throttle and yaw here, roll and pitch here. And these are full on Hall gimbals, which is super nice. We also have a slider here in the middle. You can put some type of function on that if you want to. And we have 4 position switches there: model, telemetry, return, system, and select. And a jog wheel and a push button on this side. And in the very back here, we have the sporty light module bay back here. And you can plug in any type of multi-protocol module there to make this one function like your TX16. So that's kind of cool. This radio, you know, people will ask me, should I buy this? Why would I buy this if I can buy the TX16S? Well, this feels really good. This feels like a way better quality radio than anything Radio Master makes. I mean, just looking at the appearance of this kind of gives you an idea of the quality of this radio. I mean, this is a really nice high quality radio. So I'm very impressed with the outward appearance of the radio and the feel of it. Now in the very back we have 2 antenna ports. These are external antenna ports for 900 megahertz and 2.4 back here, there and there. And if I lift this up, it also shows me extra ports, and your SD card goes in right here. You're going to need to load in the contents, and if you go to FrSky's website and you click on the X20 Tandem, go to downloads, and then you put the SD card contents on your own SD card and put it in here, and then you restart the radio and it will load up. It will not turn on until you do that, so keep that in mind. So this port right here is blank, this one is blank. This must be for the HD system coming up, maybe DJI. We have headphone ports here. We have the upgrade port here, I believe the F port, and we have the charge port for a USB-C connector right here. Now, one of the other neat things about this radio is the fact that the new receivers that are coming out for this particular radio, it's going to let you do 900 megahertz, and they're talking about 100-kilometer range on those receivers. So yeah, do the math on that for miles. You're going to be able to go way out there, probably some of the longest range of any out-of-the-box radio, maybe even beating out TBS Crossfire with that type of range. So that is, for the long-range community, that's actually pretty cool. So if you're looking to go far, this is going to be the radio to get coming up. If you even want to go that far. I don't know why you would, but I don't like to go further than I really want to walk out and pick up my quad or plane. So we do, again, have built-in 900 megahertz or 2.4 dual band internal RF module that's in here. It also supports multiple working modes, such as 2.4. It is, I don't know if it's going to be like a tandem hot swappable type of receiver. It would be neat if it would switch over. If one was lost, it would have some type of alternative frequency hopping, which would be pretty neat. So I don't know that it does that, but it does have super low latency with it, around 3 milliseconds, which is, I mean, one of the fastest sticks out there. So for the racing guys, that's actually pretty cool too. So very, very nice. But let's go ahead and turn on the radio and check out the load screen here. So I'm just going to walk you through this, and this part of the video probably not out there on YouTube yet. So this is pretty cool for you guys. So let's go ahead and check out the operating system. And what I mean by that is just the load up screen here. This is what it's going to look like when you turn your radio on for the first time. So I'm going to kind of walk you through this together, and we're going to explore the ETHOS operating system for the first time. So the first thing you're going to see, once you have your SD card loaded up on here with your content folders, you're going to see that it brings you into the ETHOS operating system, and it's going to take you to the English prompt for selecting languages. And it looks like we have 3 different languages here. We have Chinese, English, and French, and you can use the jog wheel, or you can do the touchscreen on screen. I think the touchscreen edition is nice. And so now it's going to start to calibrate. It is loading my mode 2 setup on here, and maybe we're going to walk through stick calibration. And
the sticks are not calibrated.
Right. And I'm going to click calibrate to start. Center the sticks and click next. Okay, we're centered. The prompt seems to be a little bit different there. It looks like top right, but we're going to center the sticks. Now center the sticks, pots, sliders, and click next. Now we're going to make sure that those side pots are nice and centered there. Maybe the one down bottom here, the red one. You'll feel like a little divot when it's all center. Now we're going to click next. They want this one to be all the way up. So now move the stick pots to the full range. All right, all the way around. You want to do that. So we're going to go all the way around and then back down with the throttle and click next. And now the calibration is complete. Click confirm to store it in the radio settings. So cool. Now it's opening the file, the model wizard. So that could not be loaded for some reason. That's fine. But it's going to take us to the first screen here that is create model. Now we have the name of the operating system. We have the sound, which it does have adjustable sound for the voice. You can turn her off, or you can turn the volume up and down. Also maybe change folks in there, the way the voice sounds. We have the battery. That's our 2S battery inside the radio. And we have a few different options here. And most of us are going to be doing multi-rotor. So we also have airplane, glider, heli, and other. Maybe you're doing a Y-copter. So multi, we're going to select that. And we also have, looks like, throttle, yaw, pitch, roll. And it's nice. It shows us that throttle is channel 1, yaw is channel 2, pitch is channel 3, and roll is channel 4. Now the next screen here, we're just going to say, we're going to call this one let's just call it Roma, because a lot of us love the Roma. So we're using my jog wheel down at the bottom right. I'll go all the way out to O. Now I'll go up to M. And this seems fairly nice. The jog wheel feels better than some of the other ones, and we can select a picture if we had a picture of the Roma, but I'm just going to select what's stock there, easy one. So whatever that is what the picture is going to be. So there we go. It looks like one of those old school, maybe like the Firebird airplane, one of those newbie airplanes, but we all know it's a multi-rotor. But you can go and actually add your own images in there. So if you take the SD card out of here and you put it in your computer, you can load up your own JPEG picture of your Roma, which is pretty cool. So if you have a cool favorite picture of it, you can do that. So once you have created your model, you can go ahead and change all of your model information multiple ways. Now, it is different than the original OpenTX. It seems to be a graphical version of that for the future. Hopefully, that's the direction that we're headed with this. Now, it does have that original feel to it by this traditional 4-up selection down here. So if you want to get system really quick, telemetry, model, and return here, and the select button here, and your jog wheel for selecting your numerics and your alphabet. So it also has a screen dimming. You can see there if I move a stick, it'll turn it back on. I believe you can also set it to permanently dim so that you're not wasting your battery. I'm hoping that this battery lasts a lot longer than the Horus one, because the Horus battery was terrible. It seems like every time I went out to charge, to fly, I had to charge that battery. If I didn't charge it, I was having a bad day. So I had to be very, very proficient about keeping that battery charged. Now we can go into the model menu by selecting model there at that switch down here, and it takes us to a familiar list of items here: edit model, flight modes, mixer, outputs, RF system, telemetry, checklist, and timers there. And it does appear that we can scroll over, so there is more logic switches, special tunes or special functions, curves, and trainer ports. So it does have wireless training on here as well, which is kind of cool. Any other FrSky radio out there that has a wireless Bluetooth option, this will support that and link up with it. This can be the master and the other one could be the slave. So we're going to go back there, and now we can select model again and click edit model there. And this is kind of cool. This is all of the different options that we have typically for editing the model in the first menu there. It's a little easier to follow along here. So it shows me what channel everything's on, what channel that the ESC is running on for the engine. It doesn't have flaps and so on. And flight modes, we can get in here and we can add flight modes. We can have an active switch loaded up here. You click on that and select that again, and we can go edit or add a new one, which is cool. Select here, you can name it whatever you'd like. Let's go back out to the next function. This is the mixer, so we can go in here and we can change things in here. For the rudder, it shows us where everything is for the curves, which is kind of cool. So up and down there, and let's see if the jog wheel works as well. Yep, the jog wheel on the bottom right moves it up and down, which is cool. So I can change any of these around to the way I want it. And also click on the screen there, and it lets me edit, add mix, priority, decrease, and clone if I want to duplicate that. And the throttle cut here, I don't have throttle cut set up. We can flip a servo around by changing the weight on the 100% to 0%. So you'll see this switch over to the other side there, which is kind of cool. Now we should be able to scroll down. It looks like there's more stuff down here: throttle cut trigger, idle output value, throttle channel, and you'll see this move up and down from endpoint to endpoint there. That's pretty cool. So back out of that, and one more time out and outputs here, and you can see all of your endpoints, which is super cool here. Just moving those sticks all around. And RF system, it is showing me an owner registration ID there, which is cool. Internal module, external module. If you had say TBS Crossfire plugged in, it should give you some more information there. And this is switchable between Access and ACCST. If you have a new receiver from Get FPV or Banggood that is a brand new, the older ACCST, say an older one, that's how you'll bind up that one. The newest one is Access. So it's cool that it is switchable here. So that's where you're going to change that, and you can do it per model, which is also pretty cool. So the state is on, off. We'll say on, off. And we have the antenna, which is the internal antenna. You can also change that if you need to per model, inside, outside, which is cool. So we have the inside antenna active. We don't want to switch it to outside because there is no antenna plugged in here, so you don't want to damage your radio. The model ID is set to 0. You can change that 1 through 30 or however many models you have. And there's the bind button, very familiar. And we want to set our fail-safe to no pulses as always. And you can do a range check as well, but let's select bind there. And 1 through 8 telemetry on. And there it is. There's the familiar binding screen, but all full color this time. And I don't hear any beeps. So it's just binding without the annoying beep. I felt like some of my other radios only gave me about 3 seconds to bind, and that one seems to keep going, which is cool. Now external module, you can turn that on or off down here. The T-Lite is supported, D16 there. And let's see the drop down menu. Oh cool, R9M Lite, R9M Lite Access, R9M Lite Pro Access, PPM, and so on. I'm sure that we're gonna see an update with Crossfire on there, but I don't see it right now, so that's interesting. I know that Crossfire will be supported in this radio. Hopefully we won't have to do any mods there, but for now it does not appear to be there. So they're supporting all of their modules currently, which is understandable. I'm sure they're going to add CRSF pretty soon. So telemetry, we have new sensors there if you're adding new sensors, which is cool. And I'm sure that some Lua script options in here somewhere as well. Throttle check, pre-flight check, if you want to do all that, that's kind of cool if you're a commercial pilot. And timers, 1 through 3, I can add more timers as well. You can add as many timers as you want. You can go crazy. And then all the way over to that next menu, if you slide it over that way, logical switches, and no logical switches yet. So let's just add one here, and you can do normal and inverted. That's interesting. You can switch that direction. And category analog, member, category special switches, logical switches, LS1, and you can see that it does switch when I select different switches here, which is kind of cool. Let's leave it on. Let's do the arm switch there. And tons of options in this radio. Very interesting. So special functions, no special functions. We're not going to add anything there. We have curves. Not going to play around with the curves. And for the trainer mode, you can turn trainer mode on and off here, I'm assuming. So we can go up, down, make this one the master or slave. We're going to leave that off for now because I'm not training currently, just showing you guys the new OS. And if you click that little gear wheel down there, it takes you into the system. And now we have model select. We can go in there and go back and forth. We can add a new one, but that's pretty cool looking, right? That looks actually pretty cool. That is pretty nice. So let's see. Also in the system, we should be able to tell the current operating system in here. We have hardware check, which is kind of nice. Gyro calibration. There is a gyro in this radio, 6-axis gyro, so you can put special functions on there to control your quad, or like an RC car, like my friend Andrew Newton did. He set it up with his RC car, and he was turning it this way and that way, and forward and back, and he could actually drive an RC car with just moving this radio, which is kind of neat. You can add all different special switches and functions on there on all your 3-position and 2-position switches, and your momentary switches. So we have battery life in here. It shows us our main voltage, 7.5 volt currently, which is kind of cool. Low voltage will be 7.0, and you can set it to beep or vibrate. Sound vibration, you can turn this up or down or off. You can turn off the haptic if you want as well. That's also kind of cool. And the display, right now I have the brightness set to about 50%. Wake up is on auto, so when I move a stick or move a switch or a button, it stays. You can change that to sticks and switches. That's kind of cool. So either or. So now it's auto, so it switches back and forth. In sleep mode, you can change as well. Let's see if we can change that. And it looks like the jog wheel makes it go all the way up. So you can set that to 120. before it goes to sleep. Shut down the LCD during sleep. You could turn that completely off, which is kind of cool. Yellow and black for the style. We can change that to orange and black. What do you like better? Orange and black? That's kind of cool. I think I want to stick with that. So the English language is selected there. I don't want to change that. And configuration screen, this is where you can change around the screen colors, which is kind of cool. So you can add widgets or slide things around and move things around. Very similar to OpenTX, but in this case, full color and sort of graphical interface. Very nice. So that's about it for the ETHOS operating system, for the exception of the telemetry screen there. You've seen the system, and it looks like there's one more screen over there for sticks mode, wireless, and that's off right now. You can turn that on or off. Wireless telemetry as well, and trainer. And the info for the firmware, the current firmware, it came out March, I believe it was March 31st, that is on the website, on FrSky's website, I believe. So that is pretty cool. So this one is January 30th. So I'm going to update this one to the newest one that just came out. So that will be something that I do. Firmware updates on these radios are pretty easy. So I'll keep you guys up to date as far as how this radio is going and how the battery life and all that happens to be functioning. Hopefully this one is much better than the Horus battery life. So that's my biggest concern with this radio, is that the battery life is decent, because my X7 was kind of my go-to radio, super light. This one is heavier than I believe heavier than the Horus, about 170 grams heavier than the Horus. So the Horus was already a pretty big and heavy radio, but I think this release feels solid and it's absolutely worth the money. So a nice radio for the $400 price point. Not quite as expensive as Spectrum, but not all the bells and whistles like the new Spectrum radio, the really fancy one. So if you want to have dual band, optional 900 or 2.4, and a really nice solid feeling radio with a lot of options, and a new operating system on here, and a really long range, a selection of receivers coming out for this radio, this X20 is the one to get. So the X20 right now on the Bango website, again, $399. There is the other one on there. It's the X20s. It looks like that one's available to buy too. That one's $30 more at $429. So they also come in black and blue. So check out those links down below, guys. Grab your version. It looks like you can also get one with an R8 Pro, an R9MX hand, GRIPS as well. So LBT version and non-LBT version. So pick either which one you want there, and you will have a very nice radio. So thanks again for watching this review, guys. I'm Justin Davis. Take care, and I will see you on the next one.